Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This is Ebbie Reviews, and this review is going to serve for this is a season 3 episode 3 Katie Girls. So we pick up where we left off. It's the end of the movie premiere for Kevin. And Kevin looks over, and of course, Randall has that one strong Denzel Washington tear coming out of his eyeball. And so he looks down the road, and he's like, looks at Kate, and Kate is like, oh my God, you did so great. So apparently he hit a home run in this movie. Please excuse me if I'm rocking back and forth like Miss Sophia, but I'm freezing in this room, and I just turned the air off. So, they love the movie, and so we then cut to Kate and Randall, because Randall has been seething and sitting on that remark that Kate made about her being the only one that'll bring a piece of their dad carry on a piece of their dad. He was like, so since I guess he said, oh, I heard you're doing IVF, and she was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, because, why save thousands of dollars in not doing an invasive procedure when you could adopt, because you're the only one who can bring a piece of dad into the future. And she was like, look, I love you. That's not what I meant. That's not how I meant it. And of course we could adopt, but I would like a child of my own. And she was like, and frankly, with me being able to go into this surgery tomorrow and you coming at me with this while I'm already stressed out is not good for me. And I really can't do this with you right now. So, we would adopt if we could. You don't understand what it's like, because even though you were adopted, you had 2 biological children before you decided to adopt a child. So it's not the same. So you can miss me with the bullshit, and I'm out. And so Russell, why am I calling him Russell? Randall is like, so maybe I was wrong. And at that point, Kate has walked off. Niggas kill me. Okay. So, we then cut to, the flashback of Rebecca and Jack again, and Jack seeing old boy pull up to the front door and kiss her with the flowers and stuff, and he pulls off. And so we see Kate greet him at the door, and she's like, where are you? He's like, it's been a while, and da-da-da-da. Apparently this is a little boy from her high school. When Kate was growing up, she saw her mother doing the 50s housewife thing, where her whole life revolved around her dad, making sure he got to work on time, making sure there was breakfast, making sure there was dinner waiting, no stress at all, reading all these magazines saying to cater to your husband and da-da-da and all that good stuff. So, finally, Rebecca is in home ec, and she was making a cake or cracking an egg in a bowl or something. And, she is like, this is bullshit. This is for the birds, and I can't, and I don't want, and you can't make, and I'm out. So she goes to shop class where there's nothing but boys. And of course, all the little boys are laughing because they're high school boys and they don't know any better. And so she's struggling, trying to saw a piece of wood or something. And the little boy who came to the door, Alan, comes up to her in class, and he was like, don't worry about those other boys. They've never seen anything like you, and they never will. Which, of course, melts her little 13, 14-year-old heart. And so apparently they were high school sweethearts all through high school. So they are sitting at the table with his parents. And of course, his mama is Malcolm in the Middle. It's the mom from Malcolm in the Middle, who I absolutely love. And that white wig she had on was everything. So they're having a conversation, and she's like, yeah, I'm fin to go out to California to try and get on with Joni Mitchell's record label. And he was like, well, no, just go to New York. I'm going to write for the Village Voice. I got a friend that can write for the Village Voice. He's like, it's my dream to be able to hear you sing every night. I guess at some club somewhere. And she was like, oh, okay. And she was like, yeah, they're making plans. And she was like, okay. And so she good. He's like, he invites her to New York. He's like, I promised myself I wouldn't ask you to New York for at least a week. And she was like, well, yeah, that didn't really 30 minutes into the conversation you asked me. So that didn't go too well. And he was like, but I want to celebrate. And she was like, yeah, let's celebrate. And he was like, we should toast with, and he looks in the refrigerator and there's nothing but grapefruit juice. You know why anybody's drinking grapefruit juice? I don't know or understand why is that thing. But she was like, oh no, I'll go get it. Besides, I need to walk. Because, you clearly, she's already having second thoughts about this situation and circumstance. Bruh, you're not the one. So, and she's thinking about Jack. So, we cut to Jack, and Jack is at his home, and he had just came in the house, and his mama went to give his daddy a sandwich, and daddy was like, there's too many pickles, and threw the whole sandwich on the floor, talking about make it over. Nigga, what? What? Make it over. And then she goes down on her knees and picks the sandwich up off the floor. And, of course, Jack, like me, was like, this is some bullshit. And he was like, okay, Ma, get your shit. We leaving. She's like, either we leave together now or we stay and I kill him. What you want to do? And she was like, okay, I guess we leaving. So, he's like, Mom is like, he's like, Jack is like, I talked to Aunt so-and-so and she said you can come, she'd be more than happy for you to come stay. And so they're getting in the car and Mom stops and she was like, we need to go get a coffee cake. And she was like, and he was like, why we need a coffee cake? She's like, because I will not show up to that woman's house empty-handed. And he was like, but Mom, that's really, she's like, look, what did I just say? This is a lot. Just let me have it. And he was like, oh, okay, Mom, we'll go get a coffee cake. So they're in the grocery store stopping for the coffee cake. And who does Jack run into but Rebecca? And she was like, what happened to you? Why you never showed up? And he was like, I did show up. I just saw an old boy at your door and I saw him kiss you and you come in the house. So I just was like, well, that's it for me. And it was over. And she was like, oh, okay. And she was telling him about her dream to sing and go to Cal and all that good stuff. And she was like, he was like, she asked him, what's your dream? What are your goals? And he was like, and he told her my dream is to be a good husband, a good father, have a family, a good job, that type of stuff. And she was like, no one's ever asked me that before. And he's like, I guess that sounds stupid. And she was like, no, it actually sounds pretty great. And so she was like, well, I guess I'll see you around. And in my head, Next Lifetime by Erykah Badu starts to play. But this is in the 1970s and it hadn't come out yet, so that would be inappropriate. So Jack turns and he goes back to say something to Rebecca and she's gone. So Rebecca goes back to the house and she has an open and frank conversation with Alan's mama, and she was like, your son is a great person and blah 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 blah, but I met this guy and she said there's just something about him, there's a feeling, there's just something about him. And her being who she is tells her, follow your heart, go for it. And that's exactly what Rebecca does. She ends up, of course, with Jack. So we cut to Kate, and she's getting ready to go. Well, let's start here. Randall and Beth are having a conversation, and she tells Randall, she's like, you need to call your sister and apologize because you was way out of line. And he was like, yeah, it's not that big a deal. She's like, surely it's a bigger deal because you pacing back and forth on my floor. And we have a group chat, me, Toby, and Miguel, and we say how you think you have to be the rock for the family, and apologizing to your brother and sister would show vulnerability, and you don't want to do that. He said, but that's stupid. Your sister's going to have this major surgery. You need to call and talk to her before that happens. And so Randall's like, okay, I guess. And so he talks to Kate, and Kate really can't have a conversation with him right now because at that point the doorbell rings and Kevin has sent these funeral flowers to his sister, and she was like, why does everybody treat me like I'm finna die? this is freaking me out. I can't take this. I can't. It's too much. Oh my God. And I'll talk to you later, Randall. I can't. I love you. Can't hang up. And so Randall was like, oh my God, the fear in her voice. She's freaking out. And she was like, oh yeah, we also talk about in the group chat how you overreact. And Randall was like, starts to walk away. She's like, where are you going? And he was like, I'm getting my suitcase. I'm going to catch a flight to go see my sister. And she was like, see what I'm saying? Overreacting. Over the fucking reacting. And Randall flies to LA to see about his sister. So they wheeled her into the surgery by the time she gets there. And so, of course, Randall gets there and he sees Toby, and they have a short conversation about men having depression and showing their feelings and emotions and things like that nature. And then they call Toby back to give his sperm sample. Right 2 seconds after Randall said, well, if you need anything, I got you, all hands on deck. And they're like, Miss, we need your sperm. And he was like, he was like, bad timing. So, while the doctor comes back and talks to Randall and Toby and says, she came through the procedure with flying colors. We just waiting for her to wake up from the anesthesia. Now, while she is under, she comes in contact with baby Kate, teenage Kate, and her dad. And teenage Kate is being super teenagery and be like, why the fuck is you doing this? You're not equipped to be nobody's mama. You know, you're not ready to raise nobody's kid, which is just her fear talking to herself. And Kate has to talk to herself and get herself down. And so her dad shows up and he was like, hey, kitty girls. And so he gives them all banana pudding ice cream and they sit down and have a conversation. And then Kate realizes, she's like, look, we're going to be a great mom. Things are going to get better. I gotta go. And so she leaves and she comes out of the anesthesia where the doctor tells her that she was able to get 8 embryos. So, and Randall's like, you're going to be an octomom. Which I thought was cute. So, Randall gets a phone call while he's with Kate and Toby. And apparently, baby girl from the community center, Chi-Chi's daughter, Sky, was mugged. So, Randall comes and talks to the city councilman and was like, I thought you said that you were going to clean up that area. You know, people are dependent on you, blah, 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 blah. And the city councilman is like, yeah, I did say that. I meant it. I have other things that are a priority ahead of yours. I'll get to it when I get to it. Randall takes that, and that's where he's going to run with it. He said he's going to run against the councilman. However, in the interim, Beth is fired from her job. Why? It's a money decision. It's a budgetary decision. Right now, she's not bringing in as many. They have to cut costs. And right now, she's not bringing as much money in as the other two people who are in her same position. So her boss has to let her go. He seems more devastated than she does. And the HR lady got to get him together. Because he was like, if it was about who I like best, you would be staying here. And she was like, can't say that to her. So, that is pretty much how well, no. Because let me get to Kevin. Because I almost skipped him throughout this. And I tend to skip pieces. Kevin picks up baby girl from the airport. And he's like, well, I have another interview if you want to go with me. It's at NPR with Terry Gross. And she was like, oh my God, Terry Gross, I'm a big fan of hers. Bada boom, bada. And he was like, well, just come with me. And she was like, sure, I would love to. Oh my God, I can't wait to meet her. So he goes to meet her. And in the interview, she asks Kevin about her dad's time in Vietnam. And he has a flashback memory of being in the toy store. And they were supposed to be buying a plane. And like all small boys, he wants to play with the toys of destruction, grenades and stuff. And he was like, oh, Dad, can I get this? Look, fire in the hole. And he was like, no. Which clearly is his PTSD is flaring. And so Kevin, out of that conversation is born a desire to figure out what happened to his dad in Vietnam, because his father never spoke of it to him. And so Kevin reaches out to some of the people that he served with to see if he could talk to them about his father's time during the war. And that's where we left off. I can't wait for the next episode. I did not cry this time. Yay me, because it's just 2 weeks in a row and I be in my feelings a lot. So, that will do it for this week. This is us, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.